The canal was quiet that night in North Phoenix, the kind of quiet that settles in after dark when the city pulls back and leaves only shadows behind. Angela Brasso had ridden this path countless times before. At 21 years old, she knew the rhythm of the Arizona Canal by heart. The turns, the bridges, the stretches where the lights faded. Cycling was routine, safe, familiar. On the evening of November 8th, 1992, Angela set out alone. Her boyfriend usually rode with her, but this night was different. Her birthday was the next day, and he stayed home to prepare a surprise. Angela never came back. By morning, her absence had turned into panic. Police were called. A search followed the canal's edge. Not far from where she'd last been seen, they found her body. She was naked. She had been brutally stabbed. Her head was missing. So was her bicycle. More than a week later, someone walking near the canal noticed something caught in a metal grate. Floating in the water was a severed human head. The condition of it told investigators something disturbing. It hadn't been there long. Whoever killed Angela had kept it, preserved it, before returning to discard it. There were no witnesses, no weapon, no suspect. The case went cold almost immediately. 1 year later, on September the 22nd, 1993, history repeated itself. 17-year-old Melanie Burness was riding her bike along the same canal. Same city, same shadows. She never made it home. Her body was later found in the water. She had been stabbed to death. Her bicycle was gone. This time she wasn't decapitated, but the similarities were impossible to ignore. 2 young women, same location, same method of attack, and again, nothing usable was left behind. The murders became known as the Canal Killings. Investigators searched nationwide for comparisons, even internationally. Still, there were no arrests. Then, just as suddenly as they began, the killings stopped. For more than 2 decades, the canal stayed silent. Until 2015. Advances in DNA genealogy finally reopened doors that had been sealed shut. Genetic material preserved from both crime scenes was entered into new databases. A family name surfaced, then a man, Brian Patrick Miller. He lived in Phoenix. He had lived there at the time of the murders. When police closed in, the past followed him quickly. Back in 1989, at just 17 years old, Miller had attacked a teenage girl in a mall parking lot, stabbing her in the back. She survived. He was convicted and sent to a juvenile facility for a year. The incident faded into records until his name resurfaced decades later. In November 2015, Miller was arrested and charged with the murders of Angela Brasso and Melanie Burness.
Was 22-year-old Angela Brasso and 17-year-old Melanie Burness found dead, their bodies mutilated.
But just as suddenly as those murders started, the crime stopped without an arrest. Until now. Tonight, after more than 20 years, a Phoenix man is behind bars accused of both murders. This is 42-year-old Brian Patrick Miller as he made his initial appearance in court today. Tricia Hendricks joins us live from the suspect's home in North Phoenix, where police made that arrest after searching his property last night. Tricia?
Mark Linsu, finding the person who murdered those 2 young women was one of the top priorities for Phoenix police more than 2 decades ago. Now it's once again keeping detectives busy, all because of DNA evidence. The arrest may offer some closure for the family members of 2 young women, both victims of brutal murders more than 20 years ago. Their bodies found in the Arizona Canal less than a year apart.
Bodies found murdered and mutilated in both of these different cases, and so certainly one that got a lot of attention.
DNA placed him at both scenes. The killings that had haunted Phoenix for 22 years suddenly had a face. As detectives dug deeper, they found more shadows trailing behind him. In May 1992, months before Angela's murder, 13-year-old Brandy Myers vanished while collecting pledges for a school readathon. She disappeared within minutes in her own neighborhood. Brian Miller lived nearby. Her body was never found. Years later, Miller's ex-wife told police about a story he had confessed to her. How a young girl knocked on his door, how he dragged her inside, killed her, tried to preserve her body, then dismembered it, and disposed of it with the trash when neighbours complained of the smell. Fear, she said, kept her silent. Prosecutors later declined to file charges due to lack of physical evidence. Miller had also left Arizona in the mid-1990s, moving to Washington state. While there, similar violent attacks occurred. In 2002, a woman accepted a ride from a man she recognized locally. During the drive, he stabbed her with a large knife. She survived. Miller was arrested but later acquitted. He eventually returned to Arizona, unnoticed. Outwardly, Brian Patrick Miller was known as something else entirely, a local character, a man who drove a modified former police cruiser decorated like a zombie hunter vehicle. He appeared at conventions, festivals, and events. People took photos with him. He blended into the background as a harmless eccentric. Behind that persona, evidence suggested a much darker pattern. Which is why, when 19-year-old Adriana Salinas vanished in June 2013, police would later revisit Miller once more. Adriana had been at a party in her Tempe apartment, upset after an argument with her boyfriend. Early in the morning, she left on foot to meet a cab at a nearby convenience store. She never arrived. The cab driver waited. Her phone went dead. She vanished within minutes. 2 months later, her remains were found in the desert near Apache Junction, an area Miller knew well and frequently visited. Her death was ruled a homicide, though the exact cause couldn't be determined. After Miller's 2015 arrest, friends reported his behaviour around the time of Adriana's disappearance, his online posts, his proximity, his movements that morning. The similarities were unsettling.
Coming out of Tempe, right now, police officers are scouring the area near 5th and Hardy. They're looking for 19-year-old Adriana Salinas. That's her photo right there. The teenager disappeared 2 weeks ago near Tempe Town Lake. The Gateway Community College student was on her way to her boyfriend's house, but never made it.
Before, it was just the body, and it was like, this is sad. Now that there's a face to it, I don't like it. So I really feel for the parents. I mean, my daughter's 19. Could have been her, could have been her friend.
Still, there wasn't enough evidence to charge him.
How can you explain to me that your DNA is there?
I can't. I can't remember everything I did back then, but I know I didn't kill anyone. I've never killed anyone. When I was a teenager, I stabbed that woman.
Right.
That haunted me for years.
Possible that you could have blacked out and done something like that to somebody and not recall?
No, because I knew I had done something when that happened. I used to remember her name. I think the hard part for me to believe is if I seen this with someone, well, 2 people that are dead.
That's pretty strong evidence. It places you with these women, and you can't explain that.
And I don't even recall them. I don't know their name. I don't know what happened because I was.
You have to know what happened.
No.
Your semen is there. That's the only person that does know is.
Date of birth, please.
Brian Patrick Miller, October 24th, 1972.
2 allegations of murder in the first degree, 2 allegations of kidnapping, 1 allegation of sexual assault. Is there anything that you want to say at this time? You do not have to say anything.
No, ma'am.
All right.
In 2022, Brian Patrick Miller finally stood trial for the Canal murders. There was no jury. DNA evidence was undeniable. His defense argued insanity. The court rejected it. In 2023, he was convicted of 2 counts of first-degree murder, kidnapping, and attempted sexual assault. He was sentenced to death.
I am not looking for sympathy today. This time is for the family and the friends of the victims. I cannot imagine what pain they have endured for all these years.
Brian Patrick Miller stood next to his lawyer in front of Judge Suzanne Cohen as he spoke.
I know this has been a long and painful process for everyone. I wish I could provide answers to the questions you have. I know I am different. I didn't understand completely why. I thought it had to do with what my mother did to me.
There is no question that what the defendant did deserves the death penalty. The question the court must answer is if the totality of the mitigation is sufficiently substantial to call for leniency. The answer is no.